Welcome to the very first episode of Unfiltered, Proudly in Our Prime. I'm Renee and I'm with my friend Carolina, and I'm wondering if you're looking for a sign that your best days aren't behind you, but are actually waiting for you to design them. Well, this is it. So grab a coffee or something stronger and let's get into why we're done acting our age.
Yes. And I love the fact that you said the word acting because it sounds performative when really it's about embodying and celebrating that for women and for men, but we're going to stick to women, speak about what you know. Um, really, when we are in our 50s, like 50 plus, it's magic. I mean, you know who you are, you know what you want, and most importantly, you know what you don't want. And really, Prime is the brainchild of Renee and I, who recently met. We actually have known each other for just a little bit over 6 months, but it was one of those things that as soon as we met was like, yes, yes, you and I have a message, we have a journey of discovery, we have a journey of service. And here we are. And I am Carolina Billings, and I'm the founder of PWT Global, which really started as Powerful Women Today. So this is a long journey, and we're hoping in the process of exploring all things celebrating your prime that we'll get to know each other and bring about a lot of the questions. We don't profess to have the answers, but we certainly have a lot of questions, and really explore what does it mean to be a woman or a man over 50 in our post pandemic, post AI, post Bitcoin, you name it, right? The world's changed under us, around us. What does it mean now to be in your prime?
Well, and we both, what I noticed when we first met is that we spoke a lot of the same language. I mean, we're almost living parallel lives, but we're very different, very different. And so I'm sure people will see that as time goes on. And for me, I'm a realtor and a right sizing specialist. And what I see is when I'm working with people, especially 55 plus, is that their homes have become a museum for their past life or
I love it.
the life that they've lived, right?
Yeah.
And so it's almost in a way an anchor that prevents them from leaping into designing that new life. And that's what right sizing is all about. So yes, we come to this with very unique perspectives, but we're living in this time where we have our wisdom. We are to some degree, most of us are empty nesters if you're watching this show, and we have
Celebrate.
and we have the benefit of adulthood in terms of our finances. For most of us, like we're doing okay, right? We're privileged in that way, and so we're it's like, okay, I'm done being beige. It's time to step up to full color, high definition life. And at least that's my goal for our podcast together, is to let's explore how to step out of beige and step into full color HD together.
Yeah, I love it. And in those 6 months, I must say, it's not that we just met and it's like, oh, here we go. So both Renee and I volunteer for a service community that in town, in our community. And that is, we ended up in co-presidents. Don't ask me how. And we really grew to know each other. And as Renee said, we were speaking the same language and we were identifying the same gaps, right? And my journey in the championing and exploration of what does it mean to really have self-authorship, began when, a few years ago, when I first got divorced, about, I don't know, 500 years ago. And there was this world that I did not know, having been, married for over 20 years and have gotten married, in my early 20s. I was 22. And, realizing all that I did not know. And that was the beginning, the journey of, emotional and financial empowerment for women. And in exploring how I could be successful professionally. I was a CFO, CHRO at the time in corporate, and yet have this undeveloped self that whether I had not given my permission to grow or or the life that I was living had not allowed the permission to grow. And anyway, so I began this journey, and that led to Powerful Women Today, and it led to my master's and PhD and multimedia and self-employment, and this journey that just keeps going, asking and serving in the process. So you had me at right size. The minute you said it was like, yes, that is, and it's a terminology that I often used and heard in corporate, right? Like you right size your budget, and usually has not very happy consequences every time you're right sizing, right? But when it came to lives, when it came to being more intentional, like right sizing your friends, and right sizing the things that anchor you, just like you said, all things that you're holding on to, all those tethers, are they serving you or are they holding you back? And really, so prime living is not just a podcast, it's an entire ecosystem. It's powered by PWT Global, and we'll get into all of that at some point. Not that it really matters. The point is, I love the fact that Renee and I have come to this point in the treasure hunt where we come from different places, we come from different backgrounds, we're living a different, demographic, if or at least representation of a demographic. And yet we have the same questions and the same vulnerabilities. And not just for ourselves, but also for many of the people around us. So, Renee, a year from now, let me ask you a question. Sorry, I'm inquisitive. A year from now, we're still doing our podcast, our magazine's going strong, our ecosystem is thriving. What would look like success for you out of us, coming out and doing this like crazy beginning? What would success look like?
There's a number of ways to look at that. The first thing that popped in my head was to have an engaging community, like to have that interaction, that back and forth, because even in real estate, we're posting this and posting that, and a lot of times we don't get engaged. Well, we get some engagement, but I want real engagement. Like I want to hear what people's struggles are, and what people's thoughts are and what people's victories are. And for example, everyone talks about the bucket list at this age, right? It's like, and we go into retirement and let's tackle that bucket list. Well, you know what? Instead of adding things to our to-do list, like the bucket list, why don't we, like you said, right size and look at what can we take off of our list, right?
That's right.
To free ourselves to live this life that we want. So success for me, number one, would be continue to do that myself in my own life. And as you said, you and I do live very different lives. I mean, I got married much later in life.
And you're still married.
I'm still married. My husband and I, John and I are co-founders of the Presenco Group. And I've been in real estate for over a quarter of a century, and him longer. And it's something, and I've been an entrepreneur basically my whole life. And John has been an entrepreneur, my husband, his entire life. He basically got his math degree from Waterloo and said, here, Mom, I'm going into real estate. And she was not very happy about that. Anyway, another story. So having my entire last 25, 30 years in partnership with my husband at work and in this marriage, and having to and always want to do something new and exciting like Prime Living and this podcast and all the community building that goes with it. It's exciting, it's scary, and it's, I don't know, I've got, it's like I say, pop the corn, right? Like who knows? So what does success look like? Lots of different things, but I'm really looking forward to the community that we're building.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And, it's just, what does it mean, right? Like there's really, we're at that cusp of a major cultural breakthrough. This is the equivalent of the Industrial Revolution, right? This is like all of a sudden cars are replacing horses, right? Like machines and AI are replacing many of our foundations, really. And where do we fit in? We're Gen X, we're boomers, and what does it all mean? And for me, a big motivation to do what I do, I believe in communication. Of course, that's the core of my existence. I believe in technology, and in serving underserved communities, but primarily, I have not had the opportunity to really share what I am all about. I've been having a public online career for the last, I don't know, 10 years since I left corporate and began my entrepreneurial journey. And it's always been about celebrating, underleveraged and unsung heroes in the in the professional thought leadership field. But I really have never I'm putting people out there, but I have not had the opportunity to really put myself out there. And this is such a joy. So I know I am a bit of a ubiquitous unicorn where, I am not married. My first marriage ended, as I said, almost a decade ago. And I've remained a free agent and shall remain a free agent for the rest of my days, which is a choice a lot of women are making, and a lot of men, although less men than women, and that's another episode. But it's just that exploration of, we're moved. So a couple of thoughts is that for Xers and boomers, we come from a generation that we really were not as free to share our thoughts, not like millennials, not like Gen Z that are digital natives, right? They're sharing their every thought online. And we didn't have those opportunities. We come from legacy, right? Legacy media, like only the reporters got to write, only the TV producers got to choose who went on air, right? So we were never validated with our ideas and vulnerable at the same time, right? With sharing our thoughts. And we just went to work and someone told us what to do and we got married and we inherited roles, which are not wrong. I mean, I am a parent, I have an almost 30-year-old son. And yes, I had him when I was 12. No, I didn't. But
you read all of our minds. Yeah.
Yes, but the main thing is, I believe that Gen Xers and boomers, we have a duty to share. We have a duty to share our knowledge and to document it. Because every time, and you and I witness it every single time we interact with our community group that we serve, that we volunteer, the gold of information and knowledge and wisdom that is there, but it's just not found, it's not easily found. And we're going to change that. That's success to me. Sorry, I'm back.
And it's not, as well as with the community that you and I volunteer in, it's taken for granted all the jewels of wisdom that are hiding in people. We had somebody come up to us to help us volunteer. And this person, I said, "Oh, what's your background?" And he ran multi-million-dollar companies in this country and that, and
you just see him in a bomber jacket, kind of like just in the background, and meanwhile, genius.
absolutely. So I mean, it just goes to show, don't judge a book by its cover. But I like what you're saying about untapping, tapping into.
Sure, we're going into. I am the English as a second language.
Yeah. Oh, well, I have to rely on you sometimes for English. Uncovering what's in our community. So, and also bringing information to them. We've got some really exciting speakers lined up and guests and hot topics that even I look at the titles and go, wow.
I want to hear about it. Yeah.
I want to hear about it. I want to learn all about it. So it's like, I don't know, these next 30 years is like a runway to fabulous, right?
Yeah.
And so I say, you know what? I'm done with riding in coach, coach, right? Because
where's she going with this?
Right? Coach is about raising our kids and building our careers and supporting our husbands or wives or our parents. We are the sandwich generation.
Yes.
And moving up to the front of the airplane, where the drinks are better and there's
fly it, damn it. Oh, sorry.
Did you say you're gonna fly the plane?
Yeah, I'm gonna fly the plane. It's like, yes, I'll take first class when, I'll oscillate between first class and flying the plane.
Okay. Because I was gonna you fly the plane. I just want to have the drink and stretch out my legs. Like, right.
That is true. When I first went out on my own, I was 40. It really was the first time I was living on my own. And a dear friend of mine said, okay, so you're 20 again, except now you got a car and a credit card. What are you going to do with your life? Right? And just that thought of, you can be anything. You can do, it'll cost you. You do not get to fly anchored to the ground. It'll cost you. And it's not for everyone, right? But really, all things being equal, if you can be and do something else, what's holding you back?
And that's the $24 million question, isn't it? And I love what you just said. It's not for everyone, which sounds a bit strange, but it's true. Like, not everybody.
No judgment, right?
Yeah, not everybody wants to step into something new and different at this, season of life, if you will. So, yeah. And if
50 is not what it used to be. Like, we got people who are 80 leading the world, right? All over. It's just not what it used to be. So for us to think, okay, I don't know if you remember Freedom 55, right? You arrive at this line and it's like, now you can, disengage your brain, disengage your, and it's like, like get out of jail free, pass to go, do, Monopoly for those that do not play Monopoly or know about it. It's just no longer that. And we really need to step up. And we just cannot afford to. The world around us is melting. We were talking just even a couple of weeks ago. The banks were, and like everything, right? They always plant little seeds just to see the mood of the nation, but really they're informing you about future plans. And they were saying that banks are no longer going to be processing checks, right? Well, there's an entire demographic that still writes checks.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I say the world's disappearing around us, it literally is, a lot a lot of our structures in our go-to systems are changing, and we just, in my opinion, cannot afford to sit back and leave us behind professionally and in intellectually.
Mhm, mhm. And it's, I don't know, I have such mixed feelings about that. It's like who gives you the right to take away checks, right? Like, I'm sorry, it's a system that we've had in place now for what? I don't know, 50 years or more.
We've been talking about doing away with mail, like
Yeah.
with like is it is moving at a neck breaking whiplash pace, and I love technology. You know what I mean? Imagine if you are not comfortable with it, or if
Ah,
you don't love it.
well, it's, I don't know. Maybe there's a hidden agenda here. We could always go down the rabbit hole on that. But
I mean, we will.
put your helmet on, we're going down. But I, I just, I, I have challenges with that, and I really feel for the folks that are 80 to 100 right now,
Yeah,
who, you know what, it's like, excuse me, if I want to write a check, I'm going to write a check. You
that's
know,
right.
you've had my money in that
You've
bank
paid
for
your
10.
dues. You fought wars. You held families and the economy. If I want to write a check, darn it. See, I didn't start this time. I'm going to write a check. I love it.
Yeah, yeah, and it's uh we can get into some
We
territory where we really
are going
shouldn't.
to. That's the promise. That's the premise of why we're here, right?
Well, it's like last night I'm at dinner with another couple. Our age, they have a daughter who is getting married this next summer. And when they were talking about her fiance, they kept saying, well, she kept saying partner. And then she'd stop herself and say, or I guess when she was describing the relationship earlier when they were dating, that she wasn't allowed to call him boyfriend, that the daughter
Allowed by whom?
the daughter kept saying, Mom, he's my partner. So, so she was like, that.
Oh, I get it. Okay, sorry. I thought it was the. I'm sorry. I'm catching up.
Okay,
I
well,
get it now. I get the players now. The
okay.
friends, and it's their children. So it
Yes,
was the daughter not allowing the mom, the parents.
that's
Got it.
right.
Okay.
That's right. And she was saying, Mom, the mom would say, are you going to bring your boyfriend over? Or, and she said, Mom, we don't say boyfriend. It's my partner. And so she was saying to me last night, you know what? I want to say boyfriend. Like, why do I
Mm.
have to say partner? I want to say
Mm.
boyfriend. And I'm thinking, you should say boyfriend. Like, what's
But,
wrong
but
with
on the
that?
other hand, we also have to brilliant, right? That's that line between the generations. Because on one hand, you want to respect them, that if they say, whatever, that you want to honor them and respect them. But on the other hand, they also ought to honor and respect our perspective, right? And just
Mm.
not take things personally, I
Mhm.
guess.
Mhm. It's like how
Hmm,
far do you need to go?
that's
It's
right.
like, really, is this what we're talking about?
And
Like,
there's a reversal. I love what you just said, because I was speaking to a friend and it was through text, and he said something, and I can't remember what it was. And I said, "Oh, well, you can now chillax." And I put it in quotations and laugh, right? But the reason I laughed is because every time I try to say cool words, my son just looks at me. He's like, "Mom, don't." And is that we're really, the biggest changing generation, like rock and roll and Elvis, right? Like the gap between our generation and our children's generation might as well be 50 years, right? Just the difference in values and in our cultural, markers and in all of that. And we end up like walking through minefields with our kids, especially when they're adults, right? Like, I'm not speaking about, teenagers. We're speaking about, you know, kids in their 20s, right?
Yeah.
That they're now very ready to assert themselves and to assert their, you know, standards in life. And it's okay for them to correct us, but I don't think we should feel that we're walking minefields around them. You know what I mean? Like that, I don't think that's fair.
Yeah. And I'm wondering, I mean, where is the push coming from in their lives, right? Like, is this, I don't know, is this school? Is this university? I don't know, but I agree with you that it is, it, it must be social media. I don't know. What are we going to blame? Social media. My kids, I think they got their first cell phones when they were 12 or something like that. And I fought it tooth and nail. But everybody else has it, mom, and all that stuff, right? And so they didn't grow up on it. Well, no, maybe it's their, doesn't matter. Point is,
We forget at this point.
they grew up way too fast with that computer in their hand and the access they got to the world.
Of course.
And I think it changes them, and it made them skip the
access. I get it. The access. And because before, if you wanted to do anything, even as a kid, right? If you wanted to have access to something that was, I don't know, taboo, risque, or, precocious, you had to work at it. You had to work at getting it. You had to work at hiding it. You had to work at all of that. Where now it's like, you can ask Siri about it, and it's delivered to you. So yes, our kids are older than we were at their age, and they're probably at par with us now. In a roundabout way, right? Not to discount our knowledge and experience and wisdom, because at the end of the day, that it cannot be discarded. And I believe that is what is happening, right? Like Gen X, especially, I feel in both you and I are Gen Xers, I feel very passionate about it because we're still in the workplace, many of us, and if we are not in some kind of leadership management role at this point, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be, negative, but it's not likely going to happen because the younger, MBA, AI literate, are just rolling up, right? And you are just like meant to be quiet and sit this one out, right?
And rolling up and at half the price, right? Like that's another problem.
Yeah, well, yeah, and so it's an interesting demographic. The 52 to, I would say, 55 to 75, because my initial movement, Powerful Women Today, is really for the 40-year-old, right? Like you're still kind of asserting yourself and maturing and finding your independence. Where at 50, 55, it's really about your sovereignty. It's really about deciding, who you are, what you're ready to stand for. And you were a big catalyst to my realizing that. Because you said to me, I do pay attention. I know it doesn't seem like it, but I do. You said to me, because you are way fitter physically and work at it and really invest in your health, like in your physical fitness, which if you can see, I got some work to do. But anyways, you said to me that you only became this committed to your fitness recently. And it's because the 55 to 75 years will determine the rest of your life. Tell me about that. Because it was enough for me to go, you know what? She's right. Tell me about that. Tell us all about that.
Yeah, well, my kids first said, Mom, I hadn't been to the gym since before my first pregnancy. And so my oldest is now 25. So it had been at the time about 24 years. And now I hike with my kids. I mean, I'm not a couch potato, and I'm blessed with a strong
This looks.
frame and constitution. Well,
Yes.
I don't know about the looks, but I'm a farm girl, right? So, but my kids were concerned that I wasn't exercising, and I would get hikes, and I, get out of breath faster than normal over the years, right? So I decided a year and a half ago to join a gym, and I do a Pilates studio, and I decided to buy the highest package because it will force me to go, because like the thought of wasting that money would, it motivates me. Like I said, I go at least 3 times a week. And of course, like anything, once you start, right, you feel better. But I also invest in, I see a naturopath, and again, I'm blessed that I can do that.
You invest a lot in your self-care, and I really respect and admire that.
Well, I really
to tell you that.
Thank you. And I believe that this little runway we have right now is really what we got to make sure 80 to 100 we're carrying our groceries in from the driveway, right? Who knows? Maybe there'll be robots doing that by then. No idea. But yeah, no, it's important. And I think now my next thing is focusing on my brain health. So, and I think
I've been there.
We're going to bring an extra.
That has been my zone of genius, right? The pursuit of growth and always learning and always, reading and devouring, knowledge as fast as I can get my hands on it. But I have neglected just staying fit and.
Well, there's also
plus we sit for work too, right? Like you're always online. Like just my work is sedentary. Like I might as well be Siri. I'm always online, right? Mm-hmm. And I think neglecting the movement, neglecting the energy, neglecting all of that, and that's one thing I do admire about the single people our age, opposite to married, right? And again, there's going to be many episodes. One of the things I do admire about single people our age is that all of a sudden we take better care of ourselves in the way we look, in the way we feel. And, you're an exception. Like it just seems that married people are content kind of getting grubby and to some degree. A lot of people I know, that is at least for men, like the only men that I see really well, like taking care of themselves are the single ones. Not sure the married ones do.
Now, for men, I would agree with you. It's like, it's funny. A girlfriend of mine who's my age got divorced, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago. And when she started dating, it was funny how she would describe the men she was dating to her husband. Like they would look after them.
Oh, they're friends with her ex-husband.
No. Am I not communicating in English?
You know what? It must be me. You said your friend got divorced and she began to date. And then she was describing the men she's dating to her husband or to your husband?
She was describing the men she was dating versus her husband.
Oh, okay. Versus. Got it.
And the big difference was,
this is not people really the genuine thing, the genuine deal. Go on.
Yeah, it was really exactly what you said, appearance. But I and again we attract when we right size our social group, right? We often, they say you're if you want to fly like an eagle, fly with other eagles. I don't know. There's a saying. You know me, I'm not good at sayings, but you got to surround yourself with other eagles, right? Mm-hmm. So, but when it comes to brain health, I mean, there's things like fish oil, right, that we can take, not sleeping with our phones right next to our heads. Like there are things like that we can all do. And we'll bring in an expert.
And learning new things, like is like mind fit, right? Yeah. It's like giving your brain a workout. because the decay happens fast.
As well as with our muscles, and that's how we got onto this. So moving forward with this podcast, if we can motivate people as well to just really reflect inwards and outwards, and baby, if you want to go on this ride and stop acting our age, and really curating our next life, designing, I like to say in real estate, we design our next life, our next chapter, even though I don't like to use the word chapter as much, but whatever, the next 30
I'm a
years.
publisher, so yes, I'll go with chapter.
Okay. You take chapter.
I'll take chapter. Sure.
And move forward. So I think we're off to a good start.
I think so. And a friend of mine just reminded me this morning. He said, the person who looks outward dreams. The person that looks inward awakens. I know, right? This is why I love him. And the hope is that in our journey of discovery, in our journey of awakening, we find a community that is having the same questions, and that together we'll explore the answers. And certainly, we don't mean to imply that Renee and I have all the answers and we got it all figured out. To the contrary, my friend. All we have is the desire to find those answers and share them, and see see our contemporaries, men and women, thrive. Yes, that is the ultimate goal, to celebrate the greatness in each other, right? And so back to the ecosystem, which again is my profession, is my career. So I want to celebrate and honor and respect Renee's enthusiasm and courage, and just overall energy in jumping into this online train with me, which has not been her preferred platform or experience. And in turn, I am learning from her how to have a good in-person presence and leadership, and be able to have a face-to-face community. Hybrid. Sometimes it'll be online, sometimes it'll be in person. But the point is, we're here to learn from each other, right? And with the rest of the people around us, and raise our energy and raise our vitality. And so we're bringing about a magazine. We're bringing about events, which is really Renee's zone of genius. They're bringing people together and energizing a community live. Powerful Women Today began that way, but with the pandemic, we stopped, and then we went online, then we went global and never looked back. And I miss it. I miss having that live interaction. And although we're going to keep it hybrid, because we do, I do enjoy meeting people from all over the world, and we are bringing our podcast every week. When can we expect our new episodes to be unlocked or dropped? Renee, you're our creative director.
We are going to drop, unlock, unleash our episodes on Thursdays. So Unfiltered, Proudly in Our Prime is going to be in or out there on Thursdays.
And you can check our website too. Again, we're not selling anything. We're just really building a community. You can check us out at pwtprimeliving.com and join our community. Right now, we are at founder stage. So we're looking for, industry experts that can help us build a bank of knowledge to serve our community. We're blessed that we're taking a little page from our PWT Global in building this new venture between Renee and I, between GetRightSize.ca, which is our company, and PWT Global, which is mine, which currently we have goodness, about 250,000 dedicated, committed audience that follows us, and about 500,000 aggregate following, again, all over the world, right, through multiple platforms. But Renee brings us together, right? And I am so looking forward to it. So we're having events, we're publishing books, publishing guides, building our community, which you're welcome to join. You go to our website and you can join for free immediately, and stay in contact. And if there's any topics that you would like to see us touch on and discuss, and if there's anything that you don't agree, by all means, let us know, right? Because that's how we learn. Is we do not get the evidence to match our beliefs. We examine all evidence, and when there's a position that is presented persuasively and respectively, certainly we move our belief system to evidence, not the other way around. And yeah, and we're excited. It took a long time and a lot of work. As Renee said, we both have careers outside of prime living, but this means a lot. Is important. You're important. We're important. Our years of experience and the life we've lived is important. And I think we need to share it. If you feel comfortable, right? At whatever level you feel comfortable.
Yeah. It's time. And at the very least, you can just sit back and watch us ramble and
watch us train wrecked ourselves. And that's okay.
Yeah. What the heck? I mean, we're putting ourselves out there. So the website, Carolina, you're going to have all of that down below for people to, if they want to, join, grab our newsletter for free, whatever, they can find out how to do that.
Yes. And, we're here. We're happy to be here with you. And of course, we are Renee Presenco, founder of GetRightSize.ca and co-founder of the Presenco Group. And I am Carolina Billings, founder of PWT Global. And inventing, discovering one day at a time. So I thank you. Thank you for joining us. And we hope to do right by you. That's really all we aim for. Yeah. So thank you, Renee, for today. And we look forward to much more of these.
Unfiltered.